Hey crafters, Jamie from Sweet Sentiment here. I just wanted to take a minute and introduce myself and let you know what it is that I do. I teach online coloring classes. I'm so excited to offer this to you guys here at the Stampin' Scrapbook Expo. I teach classes for both markers and pencils, and you can use any brand of marker or pencil that you have. I teach a wide range of techniques and tips and tricks to improve your coloring. So whether you're a very novice or beginner colorist or a totally advanced colorist, there's something that everybody can learn. My classes are done online, so once you purchase the video, you always have the video. You can watch it again and again and again. You can play it, pause it, rewind it, and then come back next year and watch it again. So once you've purchased the videos, you always own it. My classes are done on a subscription base. There's never ever any fees to sign up, and there's never ever any fees to cancel. So you will absolutely love Sweet Sentiment coloring classes. I offer my own line of coloring paper that is perfect for coloring in many different color mediums. I also offer my own line of stamps so that you can take off on this coloring journey all in one place. So we are going to create today this awesome background, and it is going to be so much fun. This background is super impactful and really quick, so buckle up, guys. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. So I've used a paper punch to cut a piece of paper this is masking paper. So I'm simply peeling the back off, and I'm going to stick it on my Sweet Sentiment coloring paper, just somewhere in the middle. Doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to start coloring my background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my darkest blue. This is B26. With my B26, I'm going to come along the edge of this sun or moon, whatever you want it to be. And I'm just going to use soft paintbrush strokes. The easier of the paintbrush strokes you use, the easier it is to blend. So I use nice soft paintbrush strokes. I'm also going to come down and just kind of use these little brush strokes to start filling this in. I usually don't teach a coloring that is this fast, but because we only have a certain amount of time so that everybody gets a turn, I'm going to try to color really fast and furious for you guys. B24 is my next marker. Again, I'm going to come in and just use these soft paintbrush strokes. And the reason is I'm trying to create like the mood of water. Remember, this is the ocean in our background. So we're trying to make it feel like it's water. I now have BG05. Same thing, just pretending that I'm making little waves in the water. And I'm going all the way back up into this blue because this is such a different color of blue. I want to make sure that they blend together. A fun thing that you may not know about Copic markers is that they don't actually blend. So you know, like when you're mixing paint and you have red and yellow and you mix it together and it makes orange? Copics don't actually blend that way. And really any alcohol markers don't blend that way. So it's kind of a misnomer. They actually layer. And so what you're doing is you're seeing the red through the yellow, which makes it look orange. So with these, if you're layering these on top of one another, you're going to see the lighter color on top and the darker color down underneath it. You'll notice a slight shimmer to the paper. That's the Sweet Sentiment coloring paper that I use. It has a slight shimmer to it that's built in to the fibers of the paper. I wanted to build a superior paper, and so I spent some time researching and trying to figure out what the best paper would be. It's an 89-pound paper, so it goes through your printer, which is fantastic for those of you who like to print digital images. So it's nice and thick without being too thick of like a cardstock or a cover stock. So it's that kind of happy medium. It retails for $12 for 20 full-size sheets. And the cool thing is that you can color on it with markers, obviously. That's what I'm doing right now. You can color on it with colored pencils, which is a fantastic thing. You can also use your watercolors on it and pastels, any of that kind of stuff. It's one of those papers I was just tired of buying a different paper for every single type of marker that I had, or every single type of coloring medium that I had. So I created a paper that was great for all of them. I do offer a craft colored paper as well. This, I'm using the chisel nib on this because I want full coverage around the sun or this moon, whatever celestial body you decide it's going to be. And I'm overlapping where that ocean comes together with the sky. But I want to make sure and wet the paper. Now, I'm going to start taking my yellows and I'm going to work my way up, just like I did with the ocean. I have a lot of colors in this color blend. You don't have to have this many colors. I just think it's really fun to use a ton of colors. It makes me really happy. I color in bold, bright colors because that's what makes me happy. So feel free to let your weird shine and color in all of the fun colors that you like. I'm just using this sweeping motion to go across the sky. These are all going to be filled in because we're going to do a second coat on this. And that's why I said I have to go really fast and furious on this. I usually, like I said, don't color quite this fast, but I wanted to show you guys that you can create these backgrounds really quickly and it's not overly time consuming. Okay. And I'm setting the caps right here so you can take note of the colors if you need to. Also, if you want, you can message me and I will give you the full lineup of these colors, or I will post them in my Sweet Sentiment Facebook group. So I'm stacking all these colors up, and you can tell I'm just hitting this page really lightly with the nib of my marker, the brush nib of my marker. I'm turning the paper back and forth so that my wrist is comfortable when I'm coloring. It's always important to have your wrist at a comfortable angle when you're coloring. You'll get much thinner brush strokes that way. So those of you who are struggling with hair and all of that kind of stuff, if you turn your paper so that you can go along with the artist drawn lines, you will definitely get better results. I usually also always color with some sort of paper mat underneath my coloring so that I don't have to worry about going off the edge of the paper and coloring onto my desktop. These are all little tricks that you kind of learn along the way. I'm adding some of these kind of up because the sky is not going to turn color in perfect lines. That's what I love about coloring nature, is that nothing is absolutely perfect in nature. And in its own way, that's what makes it perfect. So it's really forgiving to color things from nature. And notice how I'm overlapping all of these. I want all of these colors to kind of meld together and marry together so that they look more organic and natural. Again, you don't have to use these exact same colors. You can use any colors you want to make this happen. I just chose colors that I thought would kind of go together and kind of made a gradient of colors. But there's a lot of discussion in my group on how to make color blends. And in each one of my classes, I teach you how to choose color blends and what to do to make them work together. Here's my YR15. Again, this one's starting to get a little bit lighter. I chose this one because it's a little bit peachy, and I'm going to start going into pinks on this. I'm just barely skimming the top of the paper, the surface of the paper with these. And it's going to look really rough until we do our second coat. When we do our second coat, it'll definitely change how this looks. Now that I've got my pink marker out, I'm going to go ahead actually and use the chisel nib because I want to add a bunch of pink behind this. And I want to wet the rest of the paper so that my other colors can blend together. The cool thing about Sweet Sentiment paper is it does take many, many, many layers of color, so you're not going to have to worry about oversaturating the paper so much, which is great. If you've colored with other paper, you know exactly what I mean. Oversaturating the paper is a real problem. It creates spots and stuff in your coloring. So if you are a heavy-handed colorist, Sweet Sentiment paper may be a really good answer for you. This is such a fun background to make. I really like it. It's very easy and flowing, and like I said, it's very, very forgiving. Plus it's quick and it's very, very impactful, meaning that it's so bright and so fun that people will be in awe. Okay, now I'm gonna move over into the purples. And I'm just going to start doing the corners. Again, I'm overlapping them just like I was before. But I want to turn these corners much, much darker, like we're in a vignette almost. Okay. V15. It's actually kind of strange for me to color this fast, but it's really fun. When you color quick like this, you don't have a lot of time to think. And so it is actually kind of freeing because you're not thinking about where each and every brush stroke lands. And it's a great way to kind of get out of your own head as far as making backgrounds and being afraid. So I do recommend it actually, to take some time to color quick colors like this and just sort of let yourself go, let yourself have fun with it and paint with it and just really enjoy the process. I love watching things like this develop. Okay. So now, since we have our little vignette kind of filled in, I'm going to go back on a couple of colors. So I'm going to go back to this pink. This is this RV02. And again, I'm going to put like an overwash on the top of all of this because I want to turn this just a little bit more pink. And I want to be able to kind of saturate these colors and make them blend together. Like I said, blending is a misnomer, but I kind of want to, in saturating them, they're going to kind of bleed together, I guess, is more what we're talking about. So again, I'm going to kind of vignette this down. Okay. Then, and this is what I mean by our second coat. So then I'm going to take this Y11 that I have, and I'm going to start again kind of with that vignette feeling. And I'm going to come up and over the top of that pink. And if there's any spots that you're not happy with, now is the time to kind of blend them out. So like this one big orange spot, I think I'm going to take that and I'm going to take this Y19 and I'm going to kind of soften it with a few others. So you can sort of correct anything that you're not super stoked with when you're doing this. Okay, again, I'm going to go back to this Y11. And I'm using the chisel nib of this. I know a lot of markers don't utilize the chisel nib, or a lot of colorists don't utilize the chisel nib. I really like to. It gives you a lot of coverage, and it's just fun. Like I said, it's kind of freeing. Now I'm also going to take this and I'm going to come here where the bottom of the sun or moon is, and I'm going to kind of create a mirror image of it. It's going to be a little bit softer of an image, mirror image, because it's on water. So it's going to have some movement to it, just like that. Now I'm gonna take my Y00 and I'm gonna do the same thing, just kind of soften this up a little bit. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of these blues and move them back through that moon. So I have my BG05. And this is just to kind of sell the fact that it's on water again. And I have my B01, since we took that blue and sort of washed it out. And we're gonna do that again, because again, this is all about layering. Take my B00. And if you color too much of these on top of one another, they will turn green, because yellow and blue make green. I'm going to take my Y00, and then I'm going to soften those up. There we go. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this sun sticker off, and I have this perfect circle. So I'm going to take this chisel nib, and I'm going to go around the outside of this circle, leaving a little bit of that white. I like the chisel nib because it's nice and straight, because otherwise I'll end up with no circle at all. And again, I'm going to wet the paper. I'm going to go back to some of my darker yellows. I'm going to start with the Y19. I'm going to come around the same circle. We're just going to shade in this sun a little bit. So it looks like one of those really cool, pretty sunsets. And I'm going to just feather in brush strokes from the sides. Nice soft brush strokes. See how they end nice and soft? Just feathering those in nice and soft. Y08. Same thing, going back over that Y19. I'm dragging that color out. I'm layering these colors up so that they make a nice smooth gradient. Y13. Nice soft layers. Y11. And then I'm going to make a highlight in the middle. I'm going to skip over to my Y00, and we're just going to make a highlight down the middle of the sun there. And there you go. There we have it. This super cool background just for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. I enjoyed teaching you. Check out my website and all that fun stuff. And again, let me know if you have any questions. I'm totally here for you. Thank you for letting me be a part of the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo weekend. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and have so much fun shopping. Toodles!